So we're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Definitely a team that definitely goes to the playoffs almost all the time with the wild card spot. Definitely a team that exits the playoffs super quick all the time every year. So I mean the mission is not really trying to be in the playoffs. The mission is winning a playoff game. So overall, I mean this is a team that has built a pretty good roster, but they got even better this year. They got some good signs in there. Definitely got good signings, and they got great some good draft picks. So I think they are definitely moving in the right direction. They are definitely looking to compete in the AFC North in terms of actually winning the division and becoming a threat. So with that, let's take a look. They were 10-7 last year. They lost at Buffalo in the wild card. They were 5-4 at home, 5-3 away, 5-1 in the division. 304 points scored with 324 points against. They were 25th in the pass, 186.1, 13th in the rush with 118.2, 28th in points for with 17.9, but 6th in points against with 19.1. In good Steeler fashion, their defense was elite, but not in great Steeler fashion. Their offense was not great. But again, the departure of Kenny Pickett and not having him anymore, I think, could definitely bode well for them. They still have QB questions to be answered, but overall, this team definitely is looking like they're moving in a good direction to be dangerous again. So when we look at the depth chart for the Steelers, we got to look at their offensive line. They have a three wide receiver, one tight end set. They start with left tackle Dan Moore Jr., who's young, very young, and mid 20s. Definitely a guy that can definitely become something. I think he's just going to develop into what we see this year. Last year I think was a little bit, like I said, it was difficult for them in terms of their offensive line the past few seasons, but I think Dan Moore having youth up there is nice. So maybe he could be a reliable guy. Left guard, they signed Siamalu. It was a huge sign for them. He's number 4 on my left guard list. I mean, he does everything so well. And he's definitely going to help the run game. He's definitely going to help the pass protection. So having Siamalu is huge. Definitely a great sign for him. At the center position, they don't have Mason Cole anymore. They have Zach Frazier, the great draft, honestly, a really good draft pick from West Virginia. Pretty reliable in college. Having him there now, I think, is going to be, it kind of stamps the fact that they're looking for young offensive line. They're trying to build it up. So having him there, I think, is going to be pretty nice. And I'm excited for the rookie man. At the right guard, you do have James Daniels. He's played with the Bears. He's played with the Steelers. I mean, he looks like he could be a reliable kind of guy. Again, don't really know much about Daniels. Hasn't been an honorable mention, so he can probably step it up even more. But he's on this line. Hopefully, he can get better. Right tackle Broderick Jones. I mean, no honorable mention for him, but definitely when they drafted him, I think it was a really great draft pick. I think he's still young though. It's his second year, so he can definitely develop into something nice. So we just gotta give it that chance to brew. At the quarterback position, it's very tough because I don't know if it's going to be Justin Fields or Russ Wilson. Right now, I'm going to assume it's Russell Wilson. He's an honorable mention. He's definitely aging. I think that I think that he can still be reliable, but I mean, at the same time, he's just had some bad years, dude. So can he get back to the old Russ and not? I don't mean running. I mean like, can he just get back to where he can just sling it and it's okay? Is he gonna turn into a pocket passer? Can he at all turn into a pocket passer? So I mean, at least they were trying. They're trying with QBs. I do think Russ is definitely a better fit than Kenny Pickett, man. And then honestly, on the other side, you do have Justin Fields, who's young, and a lot of people do see some really high potential with the guy. So really, it just depends on what's going to happen there. But they do have some type of QB answer. At the running back position, you are going to have Najee Harris, who is number 6 on the running back list. Yeah, heavy power back. Definitely a guy that is going to get you extra yardage, going to fight for it. It's just a really good. really good running back that they drafted when they got him, and he has been improving ever so slightly every single year. At the wide receivers, I think the wide receivers are super vulnerable to me. You do have George Pickens, who's an honorable mention. I think he's going to break out this year. I think he'll have a great, great year, and it'll be good for Pittsburgh to have that connection between Russ and Pickens, or Fields and Pickens. But regardless, having Pickens, have more of his numbers increase is going to be huge for them. The other wide receiver is going to be Van Jefferson, who is having a really huge role for a guy that's a question mark as a player. He hasn't had great numbers at all his whole career, so we'll see. And on the slot receiver, Austin the third, who has young. He's young. He's definitely got some possible potential, but he's unproven. So again, questionable at receiver. At the tight end, Fryermuth. I mean, he's reliable. He's a reliable guy. He's their Heath Miller of this of this decade. He's the Heath Miller. So definitely looking like he's going to have some good years, and I really do believe he is a top 10 tight end sooner rather than later, man. So when you look at the defense, they are running a 4-3 base. They start with Ogunjobi at the end, who is decent. He's pretty decent. Definitely has put up some good numbers. Not extreme superstar numbers, but just enough to do the job for him. At the D tackle, you're going to have Benton, who can turn out well. Definitely a young guy though, so it all depends on the progression and the development. So we'll see about him. At the other D end, Cam Hayward, number 10 on the D end list. One of the Steeler legends for sure. Definitely gets it done on a every Sunday, every day-to-day basis. So he's the leader, man. Obviously, he's gonna be the defensive captain, pretty much. I mean, he is a future Hall of Famer. He is a future Hall of Famer. So having him there, though, I mean, he still hasn't slowed down at all. At the linebacker position, you're gonna have T.J. Watt, which is the number one outside linebacker on my list. Robbed of a Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's still going to do his thing. I think he's going to win a Defensive Player of the Year this year. That's my take. And I mean, as long as he's healthy and everything, he's going to be a disruptor, and he will. I think he will break the records, the record for sacks in a total season. I don't know if it's this year, but I think he's going to go off this year for sure. The inside, you do have their signing of the ex-Baltimore Raven, Patrick Queen. He was an honorable mention. Fast, a fast, a really fast linebacker that is able to tackle open field and just make some plays to make sure that the play doesn't go further than it needs to for the offense. So I think that's a great sign for him, honestly. Good pass coverage, so good on them. Right inside, you do have a Landon Roberts. I think he's solid as well. Pretty young guy. I think he definitely has some good numbers from last year. I think he'll still bring it, and I think him and Patrick Queen, it's going to be pretty fun to watch for Steelers fans. On the other outside, you do have Alex Highsmith, who's an honorable mention. Definitely a guy that's a double-digit sack guy. Really good at really good at finding plays like in the right time and being at the right place at the right time. So having Alex Highsmith, I think, is huge for him. Having him with T.J. Watt is huge. I think that's scary, and it makes this defense even scarier. Looking at the corners, you do have Dante Jackson as cornerback one. I think that's a great sign. He's been super reliable for a long time, and he's a cover guy. He definitely can cover some good receivers, dude. So the faith is real, man. That they're trying to do what they can to improve this team. Joey Porter Jr. on the other side, honorable mention. Again, young, and he is ready to go. I know he's ready to go. I know he's dying to play football, and he's getting better. He's honestly getting better. At the nickelback, you're gonna have Beanie Bishop, who is young. He's a rookie, so we'll see what happens there. It's really good to see secondaries where they're young and can develop. Steelers are really looking forward to it. At the safeties, of course, you got Minka Fitzpatrick at free safety. He was number 4 on my list. He does everything super well, dude. Definitely definitely a ball hawk, definitely a heavy hitter, and just definitely a game record, dude. Honestly, so I mean, it is great to have a Minka Fitzpatrick if you have Minka Fitzpatrick, which the Steelers have. Strong safety is Deshaun Elliott. I think he's solid. He's had some solid numbers every single team he's really played on. And I believe that him and Minka Fitzpatrick is a really good combination, and they will definitely show how good they can be, which I believe they can be really good. Kicker is going to be Chris Boswell, who's number 5 on the kicker list for me. Yeah, reliable dude with anything, and has a great leg. Punter is going to be Cameron Johnston whenever he comes back. He's solid, and he's a veteran, so he's been doing it for a long time. And then kick returner Cordell Patterson, which I believe is going to be one of the, if not the best return man that we got here, because he does return at a successful rate for touchdowns. So huge thing. I think they've really upgraded their entire team, and I think it's a good thing for them because it's looking like it could be really good season for Pittsburgh. Looking at the Steelers' schedule, um, I definitely believe they'll have a pretty good year. They got some good matchups in there, so we'll see how this goes. We'll see how their season turns out. It really just depends on um, how they play, their injuries and whatnot, and all these new roster moves. Can they gel and click and make sure that they can win games? So, first of all, they lost to Atlanta, so losing to Atlanta was tough. They did. They will lose in Denver. I do believe that. They will beat the Chargers, beat the Colts, lose to Dallas, beat the Raiders, the Jets, and the Giants. They will lose to the Commanders, beat the Ravens like they do, um, beat the Browns. Then they're gonna lose 4 straight. Lose to Cincinnati and Cincinnati because it's the North. They always are gonna lose one. Lose to Cleveland because it's the North. Lose to Philly because Philly's better. They will lose to Baltimore. They usually beat Baltimore twice a year. I think Baltimore's gonna um, lay to rest some demons, and that demon is beating Pittsburgh. So I think they're going to lose at Baltimore. They will beat Kansas City. They will beat Cincinnati to close the year. And with that, um, it's not a bad year. It's really not. Um, and yeah, I mean 9-8. That is the record there. So 9-8 is not bad. It's kind of what Pittsburgh's done for a while. So, not saying that they can't be more than 9-8. I think they could honestly be like the way the schedule's laid out and the way that the team looks. I mean, they can honestly be like 11-6. Uh, maybe even 12-5, dude. Like they really don't look that horrible roster. They just there's a lot of questions I don't know, and I don't know how they're gonna do, and I don't know how Russ is gonna play, and you know, will they, will this receiving core, do well? Will the offensive line keep up? Will the defensive changes, will they go and turn around for them, or like what do they need besides all this stuff? It's just a lot of questions, but I think this team is good enough to definitely have a playoff spot. We just right now 9-8 record I think is a reasonable record for them.